Hi everybody and welcome to Observing with Webb for October of 2013, the video edition. This is something I like to do for my local astronomy club. Hey AELC members, and I'd like to share it with the world. So October, what I'd just like to go over quickly in less than 10 minutes is what you can see in the sky as far as planets are concerned first, and then talk about how the moon's moving and what sorts of things are going on for October. So it's kind of a normal month, October is, but if you take a look, I have us on October 1st, and we're looking toward the west, southwest area right around sunset. Now, technically, you should be able to see Saturn and Mercury. However, it's still bright right around sunset. So let's kick it up to an hour later, and there's Venus. It's low on the horizon, but it'll be very bright. So you should be able to see Venus throughout the month. Now, around, let's say, 7:30, which is a little after sunrise, for the rest of the month, you'll notice that Venus stays about the same height throughout the month. So it should be relatively stable and easy to see. And then also the other two, which were Saturn and Mercury, they basically are not going to be able to be seen. Okay? So if you're looking for planets, look to the west around sunset and you should be able to find Venus. Now, Venus is beautiful. It's very much worthwhile seeing. Now, is there anything in the east at this time? No. However, if you go over to the east, let's say on October 1st, you look the opposite direction over toward the east, and, let's change the time. Let's keep going. One more hour. Okay. Keeps getting later and later. 10, 11, 12:30. And then, right around 1 a.m. in the beginning of the month, a little bit earlier toward the end of the month, Jupiter starts rising. And so what you'll see is that throughout the night then, Jupiter will keep rising until, let's zoom out a little bit, right around sunrise, at least in the beginning of the month, it'll be in the southeast, right? So let's say it's very early in the morning, you're taking out the trash, let's say 5 a.m. In the beginning of the month, Jupiter will be up, and hey, also, there's Mars. So you'll be looking at Mars and Jupiter. Now, Mars rises a bit later. So Jupiter, let's say you go out at 3:30, Jupiter will be out, and Mars will be just rising, and then you go a little bit later, Mars will be up higher in the sky, and as twilight starts, you'll see Jupiter about twice as high as Mars in the east-southeast area. Now, as you go through the month, at that same time, Jupiter tends to be higher and higher every day, okay? And Mars stays, I'd say, roughly the same, okay? So, to summarize, you can say that you can see Venus off in the east around sunset. Jupiter you can see after midnight off in the east. And then in the morning, you can see Jupiter and Mars, both in the east-southeast area. Okay? All right. Now, let's go back to the beginning of the month. Let's see. We've got October 1st. Okay? And the first thing that's going on with October 1st is we need to go more toward the morning. Let's go to sunrise. And, in fact, let's go a little bit before sunrise. And you'll see Jupiter's up in the southeast, and Mars and the moon are fairly close together. Okay, so the moon at the beginning of the month is in a waning crescent phase, which means it's at the end of its phasing. It's going to be a new moon soon, but it's close to Mars. You'll see Mars above it. Now go a couple days forward, and the moon is lower and lower in the sky. Now, the 4th is the new moon, which means you can't see any of the moon in any part of the sky. So now it's going to start coming up in the west after sunset. So let's try it. Okay. Now, October 4th, let's see. Let's fast forward to October 6th. October 6th, you see the moon here. Now, it's still very much in twilight, so you probably won't be able to see this, but if you have a really good view of the horizon, you can see a very thin crescent moon, Mercury down here, and Saturn up here. But I doubt it's going to be that easy. But you do get a little bit of salvation. The next day, if you look on the 7th, the moon right here will be very close to Venus. And then on the 8th, it will even be a little bit closer to Venus. Plus, the moon will be a little bit easier to see. because it'll be a little bit thicker and it will be higher in the sky. In fact, I'd say probably an hour after that is probably the best time to look, where you'll see Venus and the moon. Then what happens to the moon every night? Let's fast forward a couple nights to the 11th. Let's see. Oh, it's thicker, thicker. And on the 11th, whoop, hey, the right half of the moon is lit up. That means it's the first quarter. And what's happening on the 12th is actually kind of neat. In the morning on the 12th, Jupiter is going to have 3 shadows transiting it, which is pretty unusual, but it's super cool. If you have a telescope, check it out. I have that it's the 12th at 12:32 a.m. To 1:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's when Io, Europa, and Callisto will all be seen, or the shadows of them will all be seen on Jupiter. So if you have a camera, get a picture of it. Lane, I'm looking at you. And also, if you have a telescope, go out and check it out. I'm going to see if I can do that. But anyway, next couple nights, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, it becomes the full moon. Not the best time for astronomy, but it is pretty neat to have the full moon out. It's visible all night. And on the 18th, you'll hear something about a lunar eclipse. Problem is, it's a penumbral lunar eclipse, which means the moon is going through the Earth's shadow, but the Earth's shadow has a dark inner portion and a lighter outer portion of the shadow, and the moon's just going through the outer portion. It's not going through the dark part that gets you that really cool eclipse. So I wouldn't worry about it. Just skip it if you hear anything about an eclipse on the 18th. So if we're following the moon, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go out later at night or earlier in the morning to see it, because you'll notice the moon gets thinner and thinner again. And let's see, on the 25th, boom, there we go, 25th. Let's go like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. Right here, you'll see the moon and Jupiter close together. So if you go out anytime after 1:30 or 1 a.m., you'll see the moon and Jupiter close together. And the last quarter moon is on the 26th. So we got the 25th. Whoa, a little far in. There we go. Come on. Sorry, I'm probably giving you whiplash on the computer. But you've got the moon and Jupiter on the 25th, and the moon and Jupiter on the 26th. And the last quarter moon is the 26th, which means the left half is lit up. Looks like the bottom half on this. And the last bit is on the 29th. So let's go to the 29th. But the moon's pretty low, so I have to bring it up. There's the moon and Mars. Right before sunrise, you can see a very thin crescent moon and Mars fairly close together. And Jupiter will also be up there as well. So that's really what's going on in the night sky in October. I would highly suggest you get out there. Try to find Jupiter on the 18th. Sorry, not the 18th, the 12th. Find some more information about that. But yeah. There you go. I hope you have a very clear, dark skies for the month of October, and enjoy.